what we're looking at now is your everyday IP address. Just pick this one at random, 192.16.254.129. This is going to be the example that we're using through most of this video. And this is the default subnet mask for 192, which is a Class C address, which we'll get into later. The subnet mask for that is 255.255.255.0. This is a slash method. It's just a lot quicker than writing out the 255 every time. We have the same IP address as you see up here, but instead of writing out the 255 3 times, we just write 24. I'll explain how that works a little bit later on, but these are just the different ways you'll see IP addresses, subnet mask, and everything written out. Okay, like I said before, 192 is a Class C address. Here are your different addresses that you'll deal with mostly. There's also some more going up a little higher, but these are the ones you'll mostly deal with CCNA and subnetting to begin with. Your Class A's are 0 through 127, which encompasses everything from 0.0.0.0 to 127.255.255.255. As you notice, everything's divided up into 4 different sections. These are also known as octets. And we'll get into that. They're called octets because they have 8 bits in each one. Okay. Class B address 128 through 191. Once again, this encompasses 128.000 through 191.255.255.255. We'll get into. I'll explain exactly why we start at 0, which will make sense to most of you. Most people are used to starting at 0. But the 255 is pretty much the max that you can get with 8 bits in binary. I'll explain that in just a minute. Class C addresses range from 192 to 223, once again encompassing 192.0.0.0 to 223 with 255 3 times. And then your Class D address is 224 through 239, same thing. Now here you have the default subnet mask. Each one of these has its own default subnet mask. A class is 255.0.0.0. Bravo class has 255.255.0.0. And then C, like I said earlier, has 3 255s followed by 0. And then your D class only has this, is all maxed out with 4 255s. This is divided into 4 octets, as I was saying earlier. An octet is 8 bits. Therefore, each address is 32 bits. You've got 4 sections divided into 8 bits. 4 times 8 is 32. Each octet can range from 0 to 255. So each one of these numbers, as you can see, can be any number in between 0 and 255. Network addresses are reserved as all zeros. This will be important later on in actual subnetting. This is what you would be using for your network address. Therefore, you cannot assign it to an actual host, your individual computer. This is what's known as a broadcast address. 255 is a broadcast address, whereas 0 is the network address. It's pretty much all ones maxed out. This also cannot be used as a host address because it's used for broadcasting. Okay, subnet mask count continuous ones from left to right. The subnet mask defines what portion of the IP address is used to show the computer what the network is and what the host is. Whichever portion of the IP address is not used for the network is used for the host, which is shown by zeros in the subnet mask. You will never see a subnet mask that has a 0 and then 1 and then a 0 and then a 1. It'll pretty much be all ones from left to right. Here's a Class C default subnet mask, what we were talking about earlier. as you see, you got your 8 ones for your 255, and then your 0, which is your 8 zeros. Starting from left to right, count the ones you will get that there's 24. Since it's an octet, all you have to keep in mind is 255 is 8 ones, so it's all ones. So you just say this is 8, this is 8, which is 16, this is 8, which is 24. This is 0, so it's still 24. That's where you get your 24 and the slash IP configuration I was showing you earlier. Keeping in mind that 255 is an octet of all ones, or 8 ones. So 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, so here we have the IP address of 192.16.254.129, our example again, with its default subnet mask of 255.255.255.0 written in our slash form of /24, which we now know is due to the 3 255s we have here, which is the same as 24 ones and 8 zeros for our default subnet mask. Subnet mask is what is used to, once again, define the network bits and the host bit. What you would have is your 24 bits would be dedicated to the network, and the remaining 8 bits, since there are 32 bits total in an IP address, we subtract the 24 from the 32, and it gives us 8 bits remaining to define the host bits. So the way it works is each one of these bits correlates to a bit above it in the same octet. This bit, these all correlate to each other. So once you get to the last one here in the subnet mask, that is the end of the network. So everything to the left, which is above A1, correlates to the network. Everything above the zeros belongs to the host. Okay. Just to flip this around so that you can see a little more closely, here's the binary for 255. I just took the binary bit on top to make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. So here we go. Each one of these bits correlates directly above with these bits, and you will get this portion of the address correlating with this portion of the subnet mask. So each one of these, it means that each one of these bits represents the network. So the network for this would be 192.16.254.0 because your IP address concerning your network stops here. So this becomes all zeros. And then once you're actually referencing the individual host, this whole thing will represent the host. Specifically, the host will be the last 8 bits. So in order to define the host on the network, you get 192.16.254.129 would be the host on the 192.16.254.0 network.